What's up, everybody? Welcome to Arkham Comics presents Aaron Reviews Comics. This is episode number 2. Today we're going to be looking at 4 books: Thor number 1, Goosebumps number 1, Black Panther number 166, and The Hard Place number 1. Let's get to it. So Thor number 1, Where Walk the Frost Giants, starts off with a statement that says, "As with all wars, there are casualties." We open up the story with a grieving widow and her child after the loss of her husband. Thor and Tyr are in a disagreement if the man should have even been sent undercover in the first place, especially instead of Thor. Thor pledges himself to the fallen soldier's son that he will avenge his father's death. Instead of meeting in the war room, Thor takes off, eager to drive an end to the battle. The Frost Giants have created a new weapon that threatens Asgard's existence. Thor dives into battle as his men show up to join in, and without giving too much away, Thor is challenged by the king of the Frost Giants to see how far he's willing to go. The child that Thor had sworn an oath to was stowed away in the men's baggage, following them into the depths of Niflheim. Thor must take on both the battle itself, along with the protection of a child. The fight deepens, leading the Warriors 3 to be surrounded by their enemy. How does this battle end? Well, you're just going to have to pick it up yourself. This issue also features the classic Stan Lee, Jack Kirby masterwork, The Mighty Thor Battles the Incredible Hulk. So that's an awesome bonus for you. This book was really fun to read. I love seeing Thor doing what he does best, fighting. Adding in the Warriors 3 is always a treat, and so is adding the twist that this book offers. It's a very much return to classic for Thor. Let's look at Goosebumps number 1, Monsters at Midnight. So this next comic is for the whole family. Our story starts with an injured Mia, and instead of being at Camp Jelly Jam with her friends, she's stuck at her grandmother's house with her little sister for the summer. Her asthmatic sister is obsessed with horror stories and novels, and after passing a creepy bookstore on the way home, she's determined to find a copy of the book that she had left at her parents'. After their grandmother goes to sleep, Mia is talked into returning to the bookstore, where they can find a portal to the best Goosebumps location, Horrorland. And who do you think the leader might be? This is a fun read, and definitely it's okay for all ages. The story gave me a lot of flashbacks for Goosebumps novels that I used to get while I was growing up. And I love the element of humanity that's put into them as well. So definitely check it out, and especially if you're looking for something to read with your whole family. Let's jump into The Hard Place number 1. AJ Gurney is free from prison after 5 years. He isn't trying to get back into trouble, but he's looking to reshape his life. His girl got married and has kids, and his dad's struggling with his health. To start his life fresh, he needs to make sure that Maxim, his old boss, isn't looking to get rid of him. He makes the bold approach to meet him at his office, to admit he knows he screwed up, and to make sure that he knows he isn't available for that kind of work anymore. Returning home, he realizes the debt that his father and the mechanic shop are in. If he can get a loan, they can get some new tools, which means AJ has to show up at a bank after everything that he had done in the past. His old and new lives collide in an instant, thrusting him into a situation that will either make him or it'll break him. One of the best aspects of The Hard Place's first issue is to how that switch gets flipped. And I'm not spoiling anything for anyone, but it's a hard look at how even when we run from our past, they still have ways of showing back up. This has been a good seller, and if you haven't already picked up a copy, you need to get one. Lastly for the week, we have Black Panther number 166, Claw Stands Supreme Part 1. We're shown in exchange in an insane asylum, a woman with voices that were ripped from her head, followed by the power that comes with these voices. Claw is here, giving up his body to become a voice, struggling to contain the powers that he now has. The gods of Wakanda have disappeared, and Claw seeks to rise as a new god. He throws himself into battle with no remorse and no compassion. He's obsessed with one thought: to take over Wakanda and to raise himself up as their god. I love villain stories, and that is exactly what we get in this issue. The story is only Claw speaking, taking us through the journey that led him to this obsession. We get to see flashbacks of his childhood and how his family life affected his heart, dreams, and personality. I also love seeing villain stories where humanity is stripped away, leaving a truly villainous being, especially when it's brought about by something we would think of as pure, like love. If you love villains, then this story was written for you. Whatever comes after this book is definitely going to be an epic battle for sure. Each of these books is available for purchase at Arkham Comics in Wilson and Rocky Mount. And before I let you go, I want to remind you about Halloween Fest this weekend at Arkham Comics Rocky Mount. I just gave you a review for The Hard Place, and writer Doug Wagner is going to be present this weekend. Not just him, but creators like Louis Small Jr., Brockton McKinney, Paula R. Stiles, Corey Coleman, and Bo Fader will also be there. Against Their Will is going to be there laying down some hard rock. Sylvan Heights Bird Park is bringing in some birds. United Martial Arts Academy will be out there representing, and some good old Papa John's. So come out October 28th from 11 to 5 at the Rocky Mount location. Get some comics, get some signatures, hang out, and have fun with the whole family. That's it for this week's edition of Arkham Comics Presents Aaron Reviews Comics. So until next week, let's get reading.
Hello, we are not available now. Please leave your name and phone number after the beep. We will return your call.
Hey Bill, I know you're off on your spelunking adventure, but episode 2's done and I sent it to you. And I was just wondering if maybe you could ask Bill Puppet if I was allowed to see my family now. Just let me know, I guess. Alright, man. Bye.